actually Jean Grey, but it's not Jean Grey.
Well, I mean, Captain America killed Baron Blood, so I mean, are we going to count that against him? Yes. He killed a vampire, a Nazi vampire. Oh, so you're pro Nazi vampires? Is that it?
No, I didn't say I'm pro. I'm pro life. Damn it.
Oh God.
Let's say our last two, which is probably going to be the majority of the rest of this discussion, and which kind of embody most of the reason why we started on this topic in the first place is because of these last two gentlemen. We can start with, if you guys want to, Iron Man, or we can do Batman.
What kind of childhood trauma we want to go over first?
I mean, it depends. Original Tony Stark childhood trauma, there was none. He was just a rich kid. Like, there's no my parents weren't there. Like, he's just rich. That's all. There's no backstory to start with. It's just like you meet him as an adult, and he's just like, well, I'm great. Life's great. I'm rich. I make stuff. Whereas at least Batman comes to the table with, no, from the word one of my story, it is pain.
Well, is it though? He was like 10 years old. He got a good 10 to 12 years of like happiness.
He was younger than 10 initially.
Was he like 8?
Was he?
Yeah, he's like around 8.
Well, he got 8 years. It wasn't from the beginning.
He had 8. Yeah, because
he wasn't like the Penguin.
The first 2 years were golden, but he has no idea what they were. He's like
the Penguin.
No,
from, like rough starts.
Incorrect. He trained himself to remember his entire life in utero and beyond because he's Batman.
Well,
I can't. The bad part is I can't legally argue that. That's yeah.
All right, well then let's do Tony. We have a lot to talk about for Batman, so we'll discuss. We'll start with Tony and then finish with Batman.
All right.
And like I said, Tony and Batman, because there's no Bruce Wayne. Just a note.
We agree to disagree for right now. That's a different discussion.
I don't agree to that. I disagree with that.
Disagreement with a disagreement. I can't follow.
Don't even try.
All right.
All right. So yeah, go with Tony. You guys run with it. Go.
Tony's a rich asshole.
Yeah.
Hey, come back around. Come back.
You
went too far.
I will say this though. At least in the comics, unlike apparently the movies, he did set up like an actual payment option for the Avengers.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to go out and be denied loans in the MCU. At least in that's at one point, Spider-Man tries to become an Avenger just for the steady paycheck. And that was a legitimate story that they told because he's like, no, I need money. Can I be an Avenger? I need money, please. And like that's the Avengers do say how they're funded by Tony and that they get a paycheck. Like that's put in the comics. So at least better than the MCU where you've got Sam being like, please help me fix my boat. And they're like, you don't have any steady income. The last 5 years are a big window. Like, no shit, asshole.
I was
blipped. And
were you though? Why aren't you employed?
Can you show proof of blip shit?
Yeah. That's that. In the comics, he does do more for like there's some work put in for the Avengers. I will say with his money. Yeah.
Even in basic economics though, for even just the MCU, it's like, what's to stop Falcon from being a villain if he needs money and you're not providing it for him?
The U.S. military.
The Winter Soldier.
He's part of the U.S. Well, the U.S. soldier is a villain already.
No, the Winter Soldier?
Fine. How about White Wolf?
Winter Soldier's a villain.
No, he's not. The Winter Soldier, he's a victim. How dare you? If you're talking about U.S. Agent, he's a villain.
Well, technically, he's not the villain.
Are you saying U.S. Wait, no, John Walker is not the villain?
Winter Soldier's more of a villain than John Walker is.
Winter Soldier is both
by sheer
as concept is a villain, in reality is a victim.
Who is?
Winter Soldier. Bucky Barnes.
Nah, he's a villain.
No. He's a victim of circumstance. He did not choose to have the super soldier injected into him. He did not choose to become the assault weapon for the KGB and the Russian government.
He could have killed himself at any time.
He could have. Though. He could not have. No, he couldn't have. That was not in his programming.
He can self-destruct.
No, he couldn't. He couldn't. That's not in his programming.
Literally, anytime he started to break his programming, they just, we're shutting this down right now.
Yeah, they put him back in the ice, and they go back to refine the programming.
Man, you really hate Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, he's just like, I hate a veteran of the World War II.
So wait, that entire time,
the greatest generation,
before Cap went to go break him out, What was he doing?
Either on ice or murdering.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. When T'Challa's dad was blown up, and Bucky was just hanging out eating cereal at his own apartment.
Oh, we're talking MCU. Well, at that point, he's just hanging out.
At that, he
hadn't turned himself in.
At this
killed
point,
himself.
well, he hadn't killed himself, but he also hadn't. He still had the programming in him because Zemo was able to take control of him in Civil War.
Yeah.
So he still had the programming in him, so he couldn't have taken his own life.
When did he take control of the Civil War?
And after they capture him,
time out. Just to say, because
spoilers for. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we are referencing. There's two Civil Wars we could be talking about. We're jumping around. We are talking about the movie Civil War.
Cinematic Civil War.
The Captain America colon Civil War.
Yes. Captain America's Civil War. Got it. I'll take the low-hanging fruit.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Yes, the spoilers for that movie. But yes, in that movie is when he's captured by I want to say Black Panther, and I'm trying to remember when they capture him. Anyways, they capture him and they bring him in, and that's when Zemo goes in with the book and he's like, Furnace, Homecoming, 16, and he punches his way out of the cage and he's like, I'm evil again because they control me.
Yeah, but my question is, when he's sitting around just eating cereal and no one's messing with him, is he programmed not to kill himself then?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, he's still held in place essentially to a certain degree because he's also not he's like it's broken, but I mean it's not
removed.
Yeah, it's not removed. Yeah, the underlying programming's still there. He's still to a certain degree a sleeper agent. He's a loaded gun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I am mistaken. Then I guess he is a victim.
Now, John Walker's a dick.
He's a dick, but he's not a villain.
I'd call him a villain.
What makes him a villain? He's an asshole.
He chopped that guy's head off.
Yeah.
Yeah, after he killed somebody.
No, that guy didn't kill anybody.
He didn't kill anybody.
He didn't stop anybody from getting killed either.
Neither did you. Does that make you a villain?
I wasn't in the room.
Yeah, that's a likely story, buddy. Okay, I saw the footage. We all know the truth. Okay,
let's also get this straight. It wasn't like that guy wasn't assaulting him either.
At that point, he was not assaulting him. At that point,
he wasn't assaulting. He wasn't. He was actually, we don't know if he was in the room until like
they were all fighting.
They were all fighting, but they were fighting in separate rooms, and they came together.
Well,
and then
he looked right at the girl as soon as she killed the guy. He
literally surrendered. He's like, I give up.
Yeah. He's like, I give up. He even apologized too.
No, he didn't.
I think we can roll. Kareem, sure. Can you roll that footage now?
I'll bring up the footage.
I think we're gonna get a file not found again.
Or I thought it was gonna be like the video, but then a voiceover. Yeah, I killed him. I know he's dead. I don't know why that's the voice.
Yes, he deserved to die, and I hope he burns in hell.
I just get the voiceover Sam Jackson.
There you go.
Yes, they deserve to die. And I hope they burn in hell.
And then again, I'm probably mistaken on that too, so I will apologize for that.
I just don't understand why the hill you would want to die on is defending John Walker, U.S. agent.
Yeah,
it's not defending him. I just didn't see him as less of a villain than Bucky, who's got a much larger body count.
He does have a larger body count, but not to his own decision.
How convenient.
Yeah, it is.
So you're right. Bucky really just wanted to murder random people for shits and giggles just to help out.
We don't know that. He doesn't.
To help out the people who experimented on him during World War II, literal Nazis. He was doing this to help.
Did he not get to live 70 more years?
Again. Yeah.
Hey, he's alive now.
Side note. Sorry, but total side note. Why didn't Cap go take Bucky with him?
Throughout time?
Because Cap is the ultimate villain.
Because
If that's what we found out from Winter Soldier, I mean, from Falcon and Winter
Soldier, because he made so we
there's no reason, Ken.
Yeah, there is. There's definitely reasons. How dare you? Steve Rogers is a good man.
Was a good man.
Okay, fine. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
We do know that there was a conversation between Steve and Bucky at some point before he left for the past and when he returned as an old man, because Bucky makes mention of, like, you know, when we talked about giving you the shield, we didn't think about what it meant to give the shield to a black man and what that would mean. So there was a conversation there. So it's possible.
The conversation was, we're not going to give it to him.
They give it to him. They did. They literally did that.
I'm sure Steve was like, I'm going to give it to him. Bucky was like, I've seen history. Don't give it to him. Give it to him.
So at some point, I'm guessing there's a conversation there was like where Bucky may have thought he wasn't worthy to be redeemed and get to go back and fix time with him, or Bucky's like, no, I need to stay and do my penance. I can see there being a story there where Bucky's like, no, I'm not done with what my mission is.
I'm not gonna be. I would think it especially be Steve. I'm not gonna be. Go live your life. Don't live. Try and help me live mine. I've got to do that on my own.
Yeah.
You know what the best way to do that was to go back and undo all the killing you did.
Hey, you know what?
That's not how time travel works.
No,
that's not how time travel works.
That is for Cap.
And for this, I say screw Tony Stark.
Guys, stop. We got to talk this through.
Because his whole thing was that we need to make sure that I maintain the fact that I have this daughter. Everything else we can allow the devastation of the universe where 50% of the universe dies, and then smash them back in 5 years later. And so all the families that were torn apart are now smashed back together, whether they like to or not. All those, like, their homes are gone. People are in airplanes and they're phased back in. Like, you don't even know. Like, Tony Stark is a monster. Didn't care what this was going to mean for I was going to say trillions, but at that point it's like jabillions of people that this is affecting.
Infinite number.
Yeah, because he's like, well, my daughter.
Are you arguing that he shouldn't snap back people? I don't get it.
I'm arguing that he says, oh, we can't undo the past, because if we do, essentially I lose my daughter. That's his main point, is like, I can't lose that.
Well, I thought he said to undo the past except for his daughter.
No, and this is part of the problem of the writing of the movie. Yes, I said that, is that they say like, oh no, time travel works this way, and they wave their hands and say, and it's like, no, like your own storylines, like it doesn't fully play out, because like you talk about altering the paths and timelines, which maybe that's one thing that we're looking at with Loki. Yeah, is there is a whole time travel aspect to that and how they manage timelines. But like essentially just saying like, oh, well, we can't undo the snap because I want to keep. We can't undo the snap because I want to keep my life. That was the crux of Tony's point.
Well, no, and I'm probably wrong on this again. You guys come at me, but
I mean, probably.
Yeah. But I thought the idea was to undo everything except for my daughter.
No, his idea was basically bring everybody
like, what
back.
changed?
His was bring everybody back.
Yeah.
So, but how could you undo the past if there was no past for 5 years? That's my point. Is like when you bring everyone back, you've already undone the past.
You haven't undone the past. That's why the right idea was James Rhodes, where he's like, so we find baby Thanos and just.
First of all, that's
the right move. Kill baby Thanos.
Now,
and they were saying like, oh well, you can't because of the way time travel works.
Well,
and
that is basically how the comic book Marvel universe works. You never get out of your timeline. You always end up just having an alternate timeline. Rachel Summers comes back to fix something. She goes back and everything's still crap because she's from that timeline. The new timeline that was created when she came back is the Marvel timeline we're following.
But isn't that what Hope was saying? Was that because of where they take the stones to begin with, like in the present?
Yeah,
they've already altered it. They've already broken the timeline. Like there is no fixing that current timeline. Like even if you go back in time, you can't fix it because you've already broken where it would have eventually went.
But that's what we're saying, is that they had faulty logic. Period. So, like they're able to say
time travel. Like by definition, it's faulty.
Right. Exactly.
But what I'm saying is they at least followed their own rules by saying they could, even if they could fix time, technically the way they established it, they were never going to be able to fix it. Once they took the stones from the exact present, it severs the timeline. That's why he was talking to, what's her name, Tilda Swinton,
the ancient one,
whatever, the ancient one, saying like, yeah, even if we go back and replace the stone, we've already gone on a different course of time.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is like they're saying they're playing by their own rules of time travel, but even those rules don't follow the story, the path that they set forth.
Well, that's where I'm drawing the because I feel like it did.
But keep in mind, Thanos was gonna. And I apologize, but Thanos was literally his new plan was, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna rewrite all of history. I'm gonna snap so that none of this ever existed. I'm gonna relaunch the universe.
And also, the Thanos that comes to that conclusion is the Thanos from the past jumped forward. So you pulled Thanos, like you build that timeline, you pulled Thanos from past in the timeline. He's then not there to do the snap because you didn't put him back at his time and put him back in that place. You erased him. They just dusted him.
Erased him.
Because so when Tony snaps, he erases all of of Thanos and his minions.
Yeah,
right.
He snaps them away.
Okay.
So now 2015 Thanos is gone. So in the timeline, 2015 Thanos never makes it to 2019 Thanos to do the snap. So it doesn't make that he can't be snapped away out of the timeline.
But
he
that
didn't
means
erase the past. He erased the existence. There's a difference. It wasn't like 2015 Thanos existed.
That's how you get the splinter timeline. Because now there's a splinter timeline where Thanos isn't there to do the snap. So there is a universe where no snap happened, and I don't know, probably Kang shows up earlier. I don't know.
And there's also the problem of the Infinity Gem that Loki takes off with. How do you okay, so we can't get it in 2000. So we go back before then. But still at some point in our timeline that we're supposed to keep intact, Loki disappears with a gem off into the nowhere. And yet we still have it later on to be in Thanos's possession to make the first snap. The logic doesn't track.
That is now an alternate timeline.
Right, but then it's an alternate timeline, but then hypothetically they shouldn't have their current timeline that they exist in. That's the thing of it's a branch over here, so you're going over here. Then you're not altering the past. It's this weird, it's a stupid logic that they try and just hand wave away, which I'm like.
But my point is that they're not altering the past. They're just putting the stones back in the places that they existed in. But
they can't because they don't have.
There's nothing that changes in the present when Cap comes back.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. Is okay, you say Cap goes back and puts all those stones back, but what about the Thanos that got snapped out of existence from 2015? They didn't put him back, and they didn't put back.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't get snapped out of 2015. He gets snapped out of existence. He doesn't exist in that timeline.
But he came from 2015 in that same timeline.
There's a broken timeline now.
Yeah, it's. I'm saying is my biggest problem is that they say these are the rules, and then they violate their own rules. So don't tell me that they're saying this is how it works.
But again, it isn't like when Doctor Strange does this hand thing and everything goes back chronologically in time. They literally pluck him from the timeline, he was never born. There is no Thanos to get to 2015
I don't think that's how they did that. I think
that also
when they snap him out of existence.
Yeah, if they snap him out of existence, then he's not there to make the first snap and wipe out half of the population. So then that they're undoing that snap.
I'm saying the existence snap is tangential to the timeline itself. What they do to him is practically magical versus the chronological, I'm going to go back, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5, 15 days. They just literally take him and his existence out of the timeline. They don't go back to 2015. They don't go back to when he was born. He just doesn't exist.
But that's what so if you think of it seriously, this is they can't just snap him out of existence if they're saying we need to set if we set all the stones back to where we got them so that they're still there in the timeline. He is essentially a stone himself. If you simply it's like saying they snapped the stone out of existence, then the stones
how is he a stone?
Because
he's an integral part of the timeline that has now been removed. Any change you make to the timeline creates a branch reality. That is the argument. If I go back in time 2 days and basically take a glass and bring it here, everything is irrevocably changed because that glass is not there, and it leads to a different decision, to a different decision, to a different decision, et cetera, et cetera. That's how you get a branch reality. So the fact that Thanos from 2000, I think it's 14, 15, whatever.
Yeah, I'm just making up.
When he's pulled forward and killed in the present time, that works in the main Marvel MCU timeline. But now there is a branch timeline starting in 2014 where Thanos doesn't exist. And in fact, Nebula isn't there. And Gamora aren't there. There's no Guardians of the Galaxy. All of that's gone.
Okay. Yeah.
But their whole, because remember, their whole thing was, well, we got to take the stones back so that these timelines are put back to normal.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was necessarily to fix the timelines or if it was just to put the stones back.
Yeah, but that's kind of the argument of like saying like, oh, well, we don't want to create branching paths. You are going to regardless. So saying that we don't want to do that, and then still doing that
is that what they're saying, or are they just putting the stones back?
I don't.
Because I feel like we're assuming that they're trying to fix the past when they weren't. I think Cap went back to put the stones where they needed to be.
They were attempting to maintain the timeline of reality. That's the understanding that I read from it. That was their purpose that they didn't fulfill, in my opinion. That was their intention. Is that we bring the stone back so that we don't create this alternate path.
Okay.
But by virtue of all the things that happen in that movie, it still happened. So I don't know what the final. It's like my mission is to do X and I don't achieve it. Then you failed and you caused a shit ton more drama.
Well, then you can make the case they're trying to mitigate the damage.
Right, but they didn't say that. They said like, oh no, we need to fix things. Like you're not fixing things. You're just making up a different storyline. Or
it still draws us all back to the fact that Bucky was an asshole and didn't go back and do what he needed to do.
No, that's not what we come back to.
No, that's exactly Tony Stark is a monster.
Yeah. Tony Stark's a monster. Bucky's an asshole.
I'll say the Winter Soldier's an asshole. I'll give you that. But
I mean, Bucky's kind of an asshole.
James Buchanan Barnes is a war hero. Okay, how dare you?
You can be a war hero and be an asshole.
Well, I'm just going to focus on the good.
All right, fair enough.
Sounds like a George W. Bush kind of situation. Just going to focus on the good.
Just let's not pretend nothing bad has ever happened and move on. So Tony Stark's a monster.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of war,
he can stop there, right? Like because I don't even think that's the stuff he does in the MCU with his power and money. Is that even in the top 10 worst things he's done in the comics?
I mean,
what was the storyline you were talking about, Pat? A little while back about his tech that he got people hooked on.
Oh, the extremist tech. Yeah. During Axis, when they flipped everybody's moral code.
Yeah. Okay. That one.
$99 a day. You want to feel good? Huh?
Well, see, I mean, that goes to what we were saying as far as like, him being marked at 80 billion on this list. He at least, while we can't judge or at least measure Atlantis's like value, we can at least say like, he had a plan to make, to add to his billions through an actual product that he gave to people. It went horribly wrong, as most of his like tech does, but at least he has like, a product or service that he does provide that does bring him in money. Which I feel like a lot of people on this list are just, as we mentioned in previous discussion, are just billionaires for namesake. So the writers can just say like, oh, they have money to be magical.
Yeah,
he at least has money to like do magical things, which he never does.
Well, he tries.
Yeah, he tries. And he is more of a proactive billionaire in that the idea that he's like, oh, he's always trying to do more and be like, oh, well, I can create something else. It's like, should you create that? I don't know, but I should create something else. Like, okay.
Well, see, I wonder if that goes to like that philosophical saying of like money corrupts everything. Like for the people who have money who don't do anything with it, we never really see them like Power Girl. She's a billionaire. She doesn't do anything with her money, so she maintains her like, oh, look at me, I'm a great heroine. Like, same thing with Star Sapphire. Like, technically they profit off of war and some other things, but if you never see them actively doing anything, you can't really judge them by it. But as we're saying with Tony, who's actively dealing with his money, we see him, succumb to all of the like missteps when it comes to working with money.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to the arc that Patrick's talking about, the Superior Iron Man, he was mind controlled evil at that point. It's a weird storyline, but
Oh,
It
Bucky
is-
Barnes again. God damn.
Yeah.
Well,
You got
now
the Bucky.
I mean, like I said, it's a different scenario because it's like half magic, evil White Skull thing. It's
It though? It all sounds like Bucky to me.
there was like a good. I think because Marvel knew Secret Wars was going to hit reset on everything, they just did all. This is like during the time of
Carnage being a good guy.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, Hobgoblin being a good guy. That was the purpose. It was Axis. Everything was turned off as Axis, and so you've got the good version of Red Skull, the White Skull, who's got Professor X's mind. Trust me, it is bonkers town. That's why you've got Superior Iron Man and God, there's so much that's
Well, and then Superior Iron Man actually got out of changing back completely because he's Iron Man. So he was like, I like this because he's evil at that point. It's like, nah, I'll figure out how not to change back.
yeah. That was
That is also original Sin time. Like there's a lot that happens around that time that
yeah, because in Original Sin you also find out like that Tony's somewhat responsible for creating the Hulk too. Like
yeah.
he played a role in that, and
Cap remembers the Illuminati. That's Silk too, right?
Cap remembers a lot of stuff he doesn't talk about.
That is Silk, but she's far more ancillary. Like it's not that bad. Like she's like, oh yeah, we remember that Silk happened. That's how she came about.
Yeah.
But it's the Illuminati one with the Captain America. I didn't even. That's one of the ones that get lost by me because there's so many bonkers comics that are behind me that are just like, oh yeah, I have that. It's been a while since I've gone back and read that.
Well, I mean, go ahead, Matt.
I would say the Illuminati one's my favorite because that ends in the epic Cap, Old Man Steve, and quasi evil Iron Man basically having a fist fight, and then like basically having I think it's like a building land on them. That's how it ends.
Really?
Yeah, or like one of the Ultimate Universe Shield helicarriers or something. Yeah, something big lands on them. It's great.
Was it through the fight that something weakened then fell on him, or was it like?
I mean, the world was ending, like the multiverse was ending, so it was like a lot was falling.
I like how that's the only concern when the multiverse is ending. It's like I'm gonna punch this guy in the face.
Steve really hated Tony at that point. Like,
Yeah, and this is when Steve was depowered, so he was just a crotchety old man. So he was very much like greatest generation, you dumb boomer kid, and
yeah,
like that was the storytelling at the time. And then I'm trying to remember, he got his powers. Did he get his powers back before Secret Wars?
No, that's Stevel.
Oh, that
He gets his powers
Evil
back
Steve.
from the cube.
That's right. Well, yeah, powers cute. Oh god,
He gets re-youngified.
but it's also not him. It's a
Is it Bucky?
construct. No, it's a construct of
It's
the
a
cosmic cube. That's
Golem,
a
I
duplicate.
guess.
It's a golem. It's essentially a golem. Yeah, you're right. It's the best way to put it. No, and so it's like this. Yeah, it's the Steve Rogers Hail Hydra moment where they're like, Steve's been a double agent this entire time, and people are like, oh my god, this is sacrilege, and then like just it's comics. Settle down. It's gonna be something stupid, and they're like, and the writer's like, no, it's not gonna be something stupid. It's real, and I'm like, don't listen to them. They're just trying to sell you a comic, which I mean, buy it, but come on, like don't. The reaction that people had to Evil Steve was very much like, you don't read comics because you should know that this is just going to be done away in probably at the quickest it will be a year, because they're going to need 12 issues.
Yeah.
And then in 24 issues, you're going to find out that it's his evil twin that even though they said it's not an evil twin, it's an evil twin. Like,
it's Steve Arena.
Well, I'm sure all those people were still waiting for Uncle Ben to come back alive, so I don't fault them too much.
They were just a lot of reactionary people who just wanted.
Hey, some things are permanent, you know. Some things are permanent.
It is. It is very difficult right now with social media discourse to do anything like that and not have it become that kind of thing. But
I think that was the purpose, though. I mean, again, like Ken said, you saw comics that way.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. But with Steve going evil, you know there is a conversation at some point between him and like Professor X, where it's like Steve gets on his high horse, like, oh, well, you were Onslaught. This is like, yeah. Weren't you a Nazi? No, that was my golem. Yeah, man, that was my psyche mixed with Magneto's. Like I can make the same claim. Shut the hell up.
Can you though?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
That's what Onslaught was. He was awesome.
Well, he's spoiler alert. It's coming back, guys. It's fine.
Well, I mean, as
Oh God,
evil,
I didn't
as
even think
evil,
about Heroes Reborn. He probably is, isn't he?
as evil Steve, though, how many people did he kill?
Way of X. I mean, he took over the entire United States and made it a fascist country.
Yeah, but he killed
No, the entire planet, because he put the, the force field around the Earth.
Yeah.
So, technically speaking, the whole planet. And then, I mean, how many people died? I think Black Widow died, but then didn't. Right?
Because I'm trying to measure the body count between Onslaught and Evil Steve.
I mean, did Onslaught actually kill anybody? They just went to a pocket dimension.
Yeah, again, Onslaught body count.
So neither one of them killed anybody.
There's only one I can think of that actually has like a billion life body count. That's Jean Grey, but it wasn't Jean Grey. It was the Phoenix pretending to be Jean Grey. But then the memories from the Phoenix put into Jean Grey, so it's actually Jean Grey, but it's not Jean Grey.
I'm just gonna call it Bucky.
Captain America killed Baron Blood, so I mean, are we going to count that against him?
Yes.
He killed a vampire, a Nazi vampire. Oh, so you're pro Nazi vampires? Is that?
I didn't say pro. I'm pro life. Damn it.
Oh God. Oh, good heavens.
That's all to say. Tony's still an asshole. I think we can move on from Tony's dark and his money that he, again, just really just throws down the drain at any chance he can.
Yeah, I mean, there's as with anything, I'm sure there's times where like they'll have issues where it's like, oh, I'm also donating to the Tony Stark field for
orphans I created.
Well, orphans or even
orphans I created.
Prosthetics. I think that would be a great thing because like so for the listeners, my wife works for a prosthetic company, and we've seen in like different videos and stuff like that of like, oh, you know, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. goes with a kid, goes with them, and they donate an arm. Cool. Like that should be a story in the comics of like, oh, I'm gonna put my money towards something good. So aside from just giving one arm to Misty Knight, I can do that for a lot of people. These arms are helpful.
What happens in the comic when that happens? What is the immediate thing? Oh, turns out those arms were hacked by AIM, and now those arms are evil, and they're murdering people, and they're really downloading data on everything, and that's how AIM takes over Stark Enterprises.
I think you should write. I think that's a story you need to write. This is something that patent pending to, you know, moving forward. Patrick and our new comic will come out soon.
Yes.
See, I feel like that's just a conversation.
Stark fucks up again.
That's a conversation Tony has in his head about why he's not into philanthropy. It's the same thing Bezos does. If I wanted to donate money, this is going to get turned on me, so I'm just not going to do it. He talks himself out of being good. Because I agree with you, Ken. I feel like the prosthetic thing should just be like, again, you don't have to put AI into it.
But it's Tony. He's definitely going to put AI in it. Like, there's no way Tony, like, he'll put Hank Pym in charge of it for some unknown reason, and suddenly there'll all be Ultron limbs. Like, if there's a wrong decision,
or they're just going to reach out for random women who talk back.
Well, you know, if there is a wrong decision, Tony Stark and Reed Richards can make, they're gonna make it. So
that's you're not. It's fair enough.
I feel like we should write all three of those storylines. It just converges them. Road prosthetics that go around beating people until Tony gets arrested.
This makes me think of the Angel episode where the guy's like, "Up, sorry, I did that. Evil hand." Like
exactly.
It's comedy gold.
And then at the very end, I'll just say it was Bucky all along.
No, it was Agatha all along. Come on, now.
They made a song.
Yeah,
a catchy one.
Very catchy. All right, well, I guess we could move on to. I'm gonna just keep referring to him as Batman because I feel like Bruce Wayne does nothing with his money.
I mean,
Batman spends and plays with it.
Batman spends and plays with it. Bruce Wayne funds Wayne Tech, but he has. I mean, we in the stories they've built up. There are characters who are there working for him, like Lucius Fox, and there are people who are still pushing a more positive spin on, even if it's just for the image of the company. They still do fund certain charities with that. So that's at least there's that.
That isn't Batman though. That's them working independently with Batman's money.
No, Batman will always fund an orphanage, mostly because he needs recruiting places.
Yeah. I'm just saying that there is some thought, just like having Pepper there for Stark Industries. I need to put some of the money to good work so that I keep a positive image. So for the Peppers out there, there is a Lucius Fox, and they do find a way to be like, oh yeah, this is the.
So is Lucius Fox CEO of Wayne Tech? CFO, I guess.
I want to say, yeah, he's in different iterations. He's been a key component in like the hierarchy within Wayne Tech or Wayne Industries or whatever iteration you're going to call it.
When we had Gordon Batman for that quick minute, who was it? Didn't Wayne Tech fall to Alfred and Lucius?
I want to say it did, but also depending on the timeline, there's also times where Fox Tekka becomes their own subsidiary, their own company as well. I'm not sure if they funded that suit. I wonder if they did.
Well, because I wonder if it's the same as like what Google does, where they kind of create sort of shell businesses underneath one umbrella that operate on their own. Because Google isn't its own company anymore; it's part of Alphabet.
Yeah,
but we always refer to it as Google. So I wonder if it's like Fox Tech is the Google of Wayne Enterprises. So
I think we can safely assume that all of these billionaires have multiple shell corporations to evade taxes.
Even Bruce.
Bruce has got to burn. Remember, it's not known he's Batman. He's got to burn through money.
Does he have to?
Yeah.
He's got to keep up appearances.
What appearances?
Batmobiles.
That's what I'm saying. Are we hearing about Jeff Bezos burning through money? No, he just sits on it.
Yeah, he's also not Batman.
Yeah, I feel like we would understand if you were Batman. We really put two and two together.
Oh yeah, no, the DC universe is dumb.
If it was like Jeff Bezos is the world's richest man, and the next weekend when a terrorist attack happens, he's no longer the world's richest man. You start to put things together. He must have spent his money on either defending it or causing it.
Well, if he caused it, he'd be richer.
Yeah, well, there's also but that's the thing is that's the Lex Luthor side of it. You're like, oh well, they're obviously within the DC universe, everyone has a good money manager to try and throw the scent off. So Lex Luthor's guy,
Aquaman is the best one.
He's doing what you're saying of just sitting on money and doing nothing. He's just like, I'm just gonna go get a hot dog. It's $1. It's fine. Like, and that he does nothing with that money.
And I'll complain so I can get it for free.
Exactly. It tasted fishy.
The dead anchovy in this.
That's because you have half a tune in your mouth as you're talking.
A likely story. He throws the hot dog back.
I'm only gonna eat half of this.
Is this catch and release, bitch?
Speaking of Batman, his net worth, at least on this list, is at $80 billion, and he's at least marked as the second richest character in DC, behind aforementioned Aquaman, who triumphs all. And they go on to kind of describe that Wayne Tech or Wayne Enterprises better methods of healthcare, like at least help fund better methods of healthcare, pharmaceuticals, green energy, and biotech. I don't know what biotech means, but they have it.
Extremis armor.
He also uses the Wayne Foundation to reduce poverty and crime, which I call bullshit on, because Arkham is poverty and crime riddled.
I'm a couple shit on the mental health too.
Let's be clear about this though. It doesn't say eradicate. It just says reduce.
He doesn't even do that though.
How?
He literally puts the Joker back into circulation every other month.
But again, he's reducing crime. If he does it by 0.1%, he's reduced crime.
Yeah, but then it goes back up by like 7 points.
Does it?
I'm not gonna lie. Ken, you literally could be a CEO with that logic. Well done. You congratulations. You just figured out how to play the stock market. So
he does. The Joker keeps getting in and out. So that's going to constantly keep that curve right here. But if he cripples one of the henchmen, that henchman will not hench again. So now he's reduced crime.
Well, no, he hasn't though, because if the Joker gets back out, he's just going to hire a different henchman, if not more.
But that henchman was already out in the workforce. He's hiring somebody. This henchman number 2.
He's looking at it, I'm sure, on a quarterly basis anyway. He just needs to bust them numbers like, Q3. Let's just go round everybody up. I just need him detained for 2 nights.
Again, that also works on if the Joker's events are all equal.
Yeah. Well, again,
but they're not.
But that's because he's also betting.
He could rob a bank, and he can be put in Arkham, which would reduce the amount of crime, because either that or he could blow up an entire half a city block, which kills a lot of people.
But then he gets put in Gotham, reduces crime again.
And it doesn't reduce crime.
And that's why he keeps the Penguin on the side too. He's like, okay, if Joker's doing too many crimes, you don't do any. Okay, I need to keep my numbers up. Otherwise, I'm going to get docked pay yet again. So,
And when has the Penguin ever not done crime though?
I mean, well,
I feel like the Penguin's also robbing that same hot dog guy that Aquaman just didn't want to pay for.
I feel like but Penguins, a lot of it is going to be the white collar crime that they don't actually count.
Yeah,
that's pro Bruce Wayne crime.
I've always commented on
But
how
Penguin was a mafia, wasn't he?
Yeah, but so to that point though, like if your employer misses 2 hours off your paycheck, that's not theft. That's just an accounting error. So they stole 2 hours from you, but it's just an accounting error. If you stole that money from them, that's a crime. That's how you keep crime down. You don't classify it as crime.
Yeah.
But what happens when not only do they take the 2 hours from you, but then they kill your wife because you showed up late?
You should have read the terms of employment.
Yeah, but
she died from an unassociated event. Okay,
yeah. Still a crime.
It's a crime, but it does not associate with a bigger crime.
Is death by natural causes a crime? Even if the natural cause is a tree falling over on her that was cut by somebody else,
accidental death.
It's accidental death. That's not a crime.
She was shot
by a tree. By a tree. By the tree. Okay. Poison Ivy doesn't think that you are the right person to be arbitrating what rules trees should follow.
Yeah,
okay?
Poison Ivy doesn't add to the crime because all of hers is organic. But Penguin uses bullets.
Exactly, it's natural death. We just covered this.
Yeah, Penguin uses bullets though.
Well, also,
what about Killer Croc?
Sure, you could classify crime different ways too. I'm gonna guess that Bruce Wayne has pushed forward at least some legislation that says any sort of supervillain crime is now deemed accidental death.
Act of God.
Yeah, act of God.
Yeah. And especially in the case of Maxie Zeus, an act of God. That's how he started the legislation. He's like, if Maxie Zeus does this, really, who am I?
Get this straight. Batman goes into court admitting that he can't stop any crime, yet poses as a vigilante to stop crime, but poses for then suggests legislation to curb the fact that he can't stop crime.
No, Bruce Wayne goes in. This is called lobbying. What he does is he goes in with big bags of money and says, "Hey guys, hear me out. Act of God." And they're like, "All right, thanks."
I mean, the Mitch McConnell of Gotham might say that, but I'm going to ask, what if the Bernie Sanders of Gotham goes, well, why are you pushing for this?
It's weird because then Joker seems to take him hostage and kill him with Joker gas.
Yeah.
Who? Bernie Sanders?
Yes.
So he's not necessarily lobbying.
You want to say the same thing?
He's not lobbying as much as he's strong arming / extorting. He's in cahoots with Joker.
Look, you can call it whatever you want to, but legally, shut up.
Just saying, like this whole reduces poverty and crime really seems like a throwaway couple lines that don't mean very much because for as long as Gotham's been around, that's what's been plaguing it.
Plaguing it, or just been finding new ways to treat a sickness. I'm no doctor, but I think this treatment is the way to go.
It's not even a treatment, though. It's a placebo that you just told people was a treatment.
Are you a doctor? I don't think you.
I'm no doctor either.
Exactly. So,
but
quite
if you're
frankly, I
giving
think
out treatments.
As someone that has read WebMD, I will say I think the treatment is more children in spandex.
Yeah, he's also taking kids off the street, and so
that is true. A bunch of urchins.
Please, sir, I want some more.
What?
Please, sir.
He's taking kids off the street and putting them into his house.
Yeah, they're no longer on the streets committing crimes.
Hold on.
They're in his house.
Were they in the streets or were they in orphanages?
It depends on the child. He's an equal opportunity child taker. Okay.
That ain't right.
Yeah.
If this is
watch that out loud again.
He's an equal opportunity child taker. What do you want from me?
Batman will take
there should be legislation for that too.
In fact, if your parents lose you in a grocery store and you can do a bicycle kick, you will be adopted by Bruce Wayne immediately. No questions asked.
That was my downfall. I couldn't do a bicycle kick.
Yeah. Just one somersault. He'll at least give you a tryout.
Yeah.
Again, his hand selection of spandex children is questionable at best. It doesn't again reduce poverty or crime.
I mean, those kids aren't poor.
Yeah.
Not at the moment that they're there.
Yeah,
It's
no,
still a
yeah,
whole-
because and by that definition, he reduced poverty. Again, you have to look at the numbers. This
Fair
kid
enough.
is poor. I gave him $1 million. He's
He
no
didn't
longer
act- but he
poor.
didn't actually- he
I
didn't actually-
reduced poverty.
He didn't actually give him $1 million. He
should've
brought him into
accomplished.
his house. So I guess
He
by
put
that
him in the
definition,
will.
any kid who's adopted has technically any person who adopts is reducing poverty.
I'd like to point the court's attention to the list for number 5 on the DC. The Robins, Batgirls, and the Signals of the DC universe have a net worth each of $10 billion.
And nobody in that picture is a child.
I'm sorry, there is a Damian Wayne there who is a child.
What is he, 16? 17?
No, he's actually like 13.
Right?
I'm talking
Yeah,
about his
he's pretty
picture.
young.
Hey, you're talking about how a comic artist draws something, and they are notorious for drawing a 14-year-old as 19. So just
Okay,
And
so
if it's a
his 14-year-old
14-year-old girl, it's even worse.
yeah, no,
I'm
it's
sorry,
14-year-old
that
girl,
he paid
she's
for his one
25.
biological child, which he was legally bound to be doing anyway.
Well, kinda. That's a murky area.
And
It's
Huntress,
his kid.
depending on the Huntress version, it could be his daughter from an alternate timeline. But
Again,
this Huntress
biological.
is,
He was going to have to legally do that anyway.
but that's what I'm saying. It's like some of them are biological, some of them are just adopted. Like Spoiler's the daughter of Cluemaster, and she needs to be. He's funding her one-woman war on crime, so that's money coming out of his pocket into her bank account.
Did he ever actually adopt Jason Todd?
Nope.
Yes, he adopted Jason,
Did he?
and that was actually they covered it in an issue that essentially the courts kind of came to check on him check on all of his wards because Jason
That's
had
weird,
died.
creepy.
Tim was adopted after his father was killed, and I believe at that time Cassie was in the house as well, Cassie Kane. So there actually
Yeah,
they
that's
did
weird.
have a reckoning of that in an issue.
So Tim Drake, because he's not adopted, he still has parents.
No, depending on the point in the timeline, his
Batman killed him.
his
That's the only way this works.
Tim
for him.
Drake's father was killed by Captain Boomerang.
That's right. Oh God, what a way to go!
Was it
Jesus
Batman dressed as
Christ.
Captain Boomerang?
No, it was just Captain Boomerang.
But was
You
it
sure it wasn't
Captain,
Captain Batman?
I'm sure it wasn't Batman.
Captain
guessing.
Batarang?
Captain Batarang.
I feel like that's the only way this cosplay works for this guy.
So wait, Tim Drake's dad dies. Like a week later, I was like, "Yeah, you're adopted. You're mine now."
Well, no, because at that, I mean, he did offer because essentially at that point, I think he was still underage, so he did need to have a guardian. So I think that was because I think eventually he may have even got himself emancipated, but
How come
I mean-
Alfred isn't adopting these people?
because doesn't
Don't
have
deal with that bullshit.
yeah. He's the mother role. He is adopting him. It's a two father. It's my two dads. Okay,
But wouldn't it just make more sense for Alfred to adopt him?
why?
Why does that make more
He's-
sense?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if you're keeping up appearances, Batman,
what
Batman
appearances?
Bruce has to be around for the kid.
He's already adopted Dick Grayson, and that's public knowledge. That happened. That's public knowledge. Everyone knows about that. And I believe the Jason Todd one was not as public because also Jason wasn't. I'm trying to remember too because at that point I think he was dead and hadn't come back yet. That one could have been public
Well, and
knowledge.
Jason's mom was still in the picture.
And no, 'cause she died with him.
Captain Batarang strikes again.
No, that's Jason, not Tim.
Yeah, no, Jason got beat to death by Robin or by Joker, and then he didn't get beat to death. No, he got brought back
From Superboy punching the wall.
punching
different
the fourth
Superboy,
wall.
not
Superboy
Connor.
Prime.
Yeah.
Superboy Prime is the most powerful being in the multiverse.
Still poor though, and unadopted.
Yes.
Yeah, he is like the last son of his Earth too. So.
Again,
Wait. Yeah.
No,
This
he's-
whole Robin's Batgirls, the Signal thing, still doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, then why are the entire list is
No, the list is fine.
oh,
This is-
except for this one thing. You just like to ignore certain laws, don't you?
This private military doesn't count for anything though. I feel like these people again aren't reducing crime. Like the crime statistics in Gotham aren't going down.
I mean,
Gordon's
if you're
life
just
isn't getting easier.
Well, Jim Gordon's life isn't getting easier because of Jim Gordon in a lot of ways. But besides,
Jim, what's wrong?
It's Barb. You know, she's sleeping with someone else, and the worst part, I can't blame her. I mean, a woman can only go so long watching the dead eyes of her lover thrust atop her before she looks for something new.
So you didn't call me about the break-in at Wayne Enterprises?
What? No! Oh, this is about the breakdown of my marriage!
I think
I really
the
want
police
you to-
commissioner and crime is still going up.
I really hope you intercut with a clip from the College Humor After Hours, but it's like where it's him slamming his hand on the button. Look at the fucking scoreboard, and he's just like just defending Batman with all his like, because that's just a great moment. Where he's like, look at the scoreboard. This is what you know. He's if you reduce crime by 0.01%, you're reducing crime.
yeah, inch or mile.
I think the question is as you said, if it's over quarterly. I mean, if you do year over year though, is it the same or has it gone up with the introduction of more villains?
Well, I mean, as
even
far
your
as,
own wards who become criminals.
with corporate greed, it's going to go up by, they want to make another 20% every year based on simply the want to increase by 20%.
Yeah.
And not
But
increase. By the way,
you're not increasing the reduction, you're increasing the crime. You're actually failing at what you're supposed to be doing.
it depends on how you crunch the numbers, man.
No, those are the numbers. The crime is just going up. And some of your wards are because of that.
I mean, yeah, when Jason goes bad, then that's an increase in crime. But then when you turn him good again, you're reducing crime. So there you go. Yeah.
Because those crimes, again, technically aren't solved.
Oh, they're solved. You know what happened.
Yeah,
you personally know, the police don't. The families don't.
But he told them to stop.
Those are
so it's
unsolved
reduced.
mysteries.
Reduced.
They sit on the books.
Look,
until you solve the crime, they'll sit on the books.
there is a file in Gotham Central that is literally just unsolved crimes with a winky face on it because everybody knows it was some fucking Batman related shit.
The winky face just has two little bat ears.
Yeah,
on it.
exactly.
Just so they know.
Yeah. And it's like Bruce Wayne cuts a check. Like he just always donates to the Gotham PD retirement fund.
Yeah.
It's weird. He just always like clockwork.
Too bad he doesn't donate to the actual training and protection of them.
No, that's crazy. Why would you? What are you even talking about?
Nuts. Let's be honest. So what you're saying is you want to defund the police? Is that what you're saying, Kareem?
I'm saying Batman literally defunds the police.
No, he funds it.
No, he funds the charities. They're always understaffed and murdered because they don't have armor, they don't have protection, they don't have training.
I mean, they have armor, but when the villains have acid flowers, body armor isn't as helpful as you might think.
Yeah, like
it helps Batman.
He has special body armor.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's very expensive. It's very expensive. Look,
I feel like if you armed the police with that, you would have to do it as often.
Batman's no Tony Stark. Right?
Wait, so now you want
out left and right.
Now you want to arm the police more? We've already given them tanks from the last 5 wars. What more do they need?
Evidently, anti-acid,
flower acid suits,
anti-flower acid.
Yeah,
aerial.
I'm just saying, pick a side of the fence. You keep going like back and forth. Like, well, what do we want?
My side of the fence is Batman's an asshole who doesn't spend his money well.
No, well is a subjective term.
What good has his money done anybody?
Done anybody? Well, it's done him a lot of good. Like he
has it though.
He got to play out an entire fantasy about being a vigilante just over and over again and adopt as many kids as he wants. Yeah, no, it's gone really well for him.
The kids who died in his custody.
I mean, they come back.
What kids have died?
Didn't we just say one of the?
Yeah, he's back. It's fine.
He's back. It's fine.
Regardless, they still die.
I mean, they come back.
Wait. I mean, look, Jason. He's alive again. Damian, he's alive again. Stephanie, she's alive again.
They died.
Yeah, but does it count if you're back?
Yeah, it's a death still.
Is it though, or is it that you're a Kryptonian power battery that your just battery ran low and then you're like, oh,
well, technically,
I'm back, baby.
Exactly, you didn't die technically.
Yeah, but by human standards, they died.
But did they? Because actually, Stephanie never died. Stephanie was given a toxin to appear dead so that she could get out of the life and then come back. So she appeared dead, but she was not dead.
And
so she didn't die.
Jason Todd may have died, but literally Superboy Prime punched reality to undead him, thus making him not dead.
So in reality, he was never dead.
No, you can still die.
You can still die. Everyone can still die. Doesn't mean that they're dead now.
Yeah, I'm not saying they stayed dead. I said they died.
He didn't though, because reality.
Yeah,
well, he died.
No, he didn't.
Punch
reality.
reality.
He
Superboy
died.
Prime
No, it's
literally
reality.
punches reality, and then Jason Todd is no longer dead. That has been erased. He's alive.
No,
now.
he's not no longer dead because he didn't die. So
Yeah.
he was
He's
just
been chilling in
he
a
was-
coffin for years.
he was very badly beaten. Okay, very
Like,
badly beaten
badly
and
to the
buried
point
alive.
They buried him. That's how badly the beating
Yeah.
was.
They buried him alive, and he clawed himself out through the grave. What? How is this?
I still don't think it's helped Batman having all this money.
Well, it hasn't hurt either. So
Yeah. I don't. He really
Well, I mean,
couldn't be
it
Batman
might
without
have.
the money to buy his way out of this.
I mean, if
stuff.
his parents weren't rich, would they have gotten robbed?
Well, I mean, even the Lego Batman has it in his song that he's like darkness, but it's kind of rich, or it's like lots of money, kind of rich, kind of helps. Like
You get it. That's just the first verse. Darkness. No parents. Super rich. Kinda makes it better.
Like even he acknowledges, like, you know
Yeah.
what? Hey, having all that money, not a bad thing.
Yeah, if his parents were working class and murdered, then he just would have been an angry kid that had to get therapy, and nobody
That's what I'm
wants
wondering.
that.
Would they have been murdered though if they were working class?
I don't know. With the crime rates in Gotham, probably Batman wasn't
Oh,
around
you mean
yet.
the ones that haven't changed?
Batman wasn't around yet.
Yeah, but
Even when Batman is around, people are still getting robbed or murdered.
A lot less people being shot in alleys.
No, it's not really.
That's the one crime he
That-
reduces.
Yeah.
Something
Well,
isn't.
I don't know, but gun control is still gun control. So
Yeah,
don't take
that's
away their
fair.
Second Amendments. Heaven forbid
That's
someone
Don't
be.
tread on them.
It's still called Crime Alley. Why?
'Cause
Why
Batman
go to
hasn't done
Crime
shit
Alley?
about it.
Yeah, that's the bigger
couldn't
question.
they just go out the front?
Or couldn't Batman just get rid of Crime Alley? I mean, it's called gentrification.
He
It's
could
pretty
literally, as Bruce Wayne. Yeah, that is Batman.
Wait.
Oh,
So now
that
you're
is Batman's
now
ultimate power.
you're pro
It would be-
gentrification too.
It would be his ultimate
Pick a
power if he
lane.
used it.
No, his ultimate power is like coffee shops run by hipsters that are opened on low interest loans.
Yeah, that's Batman's threat. He doesn't actually do it though. Hey Joker, you won't have anything to blow up if I turn it into a coffee shop.
I mean, he could still blow up a coffee shop.
Has he though? There's a reason why he hasn't.
I mean, you say he hasn't, but do you have any facts, any
Do you have
statistics to show me?
Have you seen any artwork?
The burden of
of him
proof
blowing
lays on you, sir. You are making this the
up? I'm saying
supposition.
you need to show me that he's blown up something.
you're the one putting out the question.
Joker
The
has
burden of
blown
proof
up.
lays on you.
Is there anything
I haven't
Joker hasn't
seen-
blown up?
A coffee shop.
Starbucks are sacred to him. The
Yes.
one thing he
But-
will
but-
not touch.
But not Seattle's best. He says fuck Seattle's best.
He actually targets the other
Well, he actually blew up the headquarters. That's why they're not around anymore.
There you go. See,
That's not a coffee shop though. That is an office building.
Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. He's okay with them depending on what they have in stock.
What is the seasonal? Is that winter dream drinking?
Exactly.
Then he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, you're fine.
If it's pumpkin spice time, just stay away for your everyone's sake.
And ironically,
Uh,
he has stocking Dunkins.
Well, everybody runs on Dunkin'. And Pete's coffee is actually his secret favorite though. He likes the class.
I think he just likes hanging out in their reading books,
Yes.
writing his memoirs.
No, don't do that. I mean, I'd read them, but
Right? Exactly. And I would love to see the perspective like we got from that Luther one where Batman or Superman's the villain.
Okay,
If we can get the Joker's memoir version of that,
they do.
do they?
Yeah, it's called Joker. It's by Lee Bermejo too, and
Huh. Well,
Brian
then I-
Azzarello.
well,
Is
and
it like,
then,
it's like that?
Yeah, same creative team.
and then they also did the Joker story where he gets actual mental health, and it turns out like, oh yeah, Batman, you're a real problem.
That'd be White Knight.
White Knight, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Curse of the White Knight, which I think is the name of the follow up.
Then I
have
need
to
to read
double
those.
check.
'Cause that sounds way more interesting than reading about a cis white guy who doesn't help anybody.
Except for these 27 orphans he adopts. And
Yeah.
gives money.
27 white orphans that he helps out.
Hey, no. Cassie Kane is an Asian woman,
Oh, fair enough.
and Helena, I don't think he adopted, but in this iteration, she's a woman of color. I say
That's
that
why she
with-
wasn't adopted.
Yeah, fair enough. But Cassie Kane, he's got.
It's really hold on to Cassie.
I'm just saying that's all I've got to pull from is that
He's
Cassie
just-
Kane, who's a Chinese.
Look,
She's Hapa because
Did
she's.
he didn't adopt Duke Thomas yet, did he?
I don't think so. I don't think he. I don't know.
Not good.
I think he just also
Not good.
but also that he didn't become a Robin by name. He became the Signal, which is another weird thing where they're like, no. It's weird because it's like, oh no, he gets to be. It's like there's the standing point where it's like he gets to be his own hero. So he's like, no, I get to be my own hero. But then also, is it he chooses not to be Robin? So it's I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like it can be seen from different. Yeah.
The one black guy can't be a Robin. He
chose not to.
It's still a bat
Frog?
on his chest.
And exactly. I'm just saying.
Still
I didn't
a
write
bat
the
on his
story.
chest.
Yeah. But it's not an R. So what? I don't.
You know what? That's a fair point. It is not an R. I can't argue that.
Also, Batwing's not in here. All the Batman International people aren't here. Well, I guess they wouldn't be considered adopted though. So.
I mean, it's Bruce, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he'd have to go kill their parents.
Have
It's the only way this works.
Oh
Have to.
no!
Yes.
I invited you all for a conference and the Joker blew it up. Your parents. I guess you're all mine now.
Basically,
I'm lonely.
he's compelled.
Well, I'm glad that what we learned about billionaires, at least for the two biggest billionaires and most well recognizable in comics, they're assholes.
I think that sums up every billionaire on this list. I don't think we had a good one.
Yeah, but if you were gonna have any shot of them not being, it was gonna be Iron Man and Batman. They were.
Listen, I feel like they're the poster child for bad billionaires. I think anybody, we were hoping that the women would like, I don't know, give us a different perspective.
I mean, the moment it said, tech.
Well, I mean, is Arthur, but we barely touched about Arthur Curry versus Namor, because I mean, Namor is a notable asshole. Arthur Curry's, he just inherited it all. He's like, he's a that kind of trust fund kid, but he also hasn't gone out of his way to be a dick about it either. So
A dick to who? No one gives a shit about the ocean.
He does. He's Aquaman.
Well, he's doing a piss poor job.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like in DC they got rid of the Texas size thing of plastic in the middle of the Pacific. I haven't seen that story yet. This is just like he's like, should do something about that.
Charles Moore is often credited with the first observations of the patch, a constellation of microplastic particles that captured the public's imagination.
Captain Charles Moore had described the area. He said, look, I'm in an area roughly twice the size of Texas where I'm doing my transects, and that hit the media by storm. There aren't these islands of trash. They don't exist. It's more like a smog of microplastic particles. Billions of them, very toxic over a wide area.
I'm going to sit here counting my jewels.
Anyways.
This one's from the Titanic.
We had a good, I wasn't around for that back then, but I did hear some stories. Everyone just stood around and watched it happen. It was really messed up.
Yeah.
We could have popcorn.
Literally saved all those people. Something about hating the Irish? I don't know. It was weird.
And there it is, Arthur Curry, the asshole, Irish hater.
No, but
that was
as I said,
him.
it was his family. It was his grandfather and stepdad. You know, those drunk stepdads.
Those drunk Irish stepdads?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
stepdads. So,
like I said, there's no good billionaire. I think that's inherently why billionaires aren't that great.
Yeah, because to get to that point, you have to be like, no, I'm good with neglecting the entire world. Just like, no, I'm good. I need to get another B up here. Like, come on, put it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, this isn't to scapegoat anybody else's list that we didn't mention. Like Lex is an obvious bad guy. Black Adam, sort of bad-ish, I guess. Could be bad.
Because that was during the whole tangent of what counts as sure, I'm sure there's a bunch of resources there, but you own it. All right, I guess no one's gonna fight you over it.
Yeah.
How much is this land worth? $1 billion.
It's the moon. It's all right.
Oh, Black Bolt.
Yeah.
Well, no, but someone is going to fight him over it because the X-Men literally moved into the blue area of the moon. They live there now.
And okay, yeah.
Do they share it?
I honestly don't know where the humans are now.
The moment
I feel like the unsolved mystery that's getting attributed to Gotham City.
the moment Disney got their hold, got the X-Men back, the Inhumans just immediately vanished off the face of the earth. Like all that celestial messiah, like you go fuck off with the Kree. It's fine. Nobody wants to hear from you.
The Terrigen Mist. Yeah, that's fine.
We'll vacuum that up. Vacuum that up.
We're gonna keep Miss Marvel. She's cool, but everyone else just get the fuck out of here.
We are like a year away from Miss Marvel's origin being retconned. That it wasn't the Mist. It was actually a mutant ability that was accidentally activated by the Mist because Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Scarlet Witch, who is also not the daughter of Magneto.
Oh,
we don't know that yet.
MCU not question mark weird world.
We don't even have a Magneto right now.
I mean, we're talking about the fact that in the comics they retconned that they were no longer the children of Magneto.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to get rid of that.
Right, but I mean, hypothetically, when you're rewriting history and you're doing stuff in the MCU, you could be like, oh, yeah, that was Magneto, or they were adopted, and he really is Magneto. And
I feel like that's what they might do.
I mean, the comics, they're definitely. I definitely think Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch will end up being his kids again.
Yeah,
just so they have to deal with it on Krakoa.
And they should be. It was just bullshit posturing for the. Like, oh no, fuck Fox. We don't want to give them any coverage because Ike Perlmutter's an asshole. And
they went bottom.
Yeah.
The power of monies.
Yeah. As we've been discussing.
But hey, life, you can try and prove me wrong and give me a couple $1 billion and see where that goes. So
yeah, you're gonna instantly become an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we don't know yet. We have to let the world decide.
Out at least 7 different instances of that happening.
But
we have not had an instance of Ken getting $1 billion yet.
But history's shown that anybody with $1 billion.
Yeah.
But until we have some real world experience, I can't attest to it. So, life, give me a couple $1 billion. Let's see how this goes.
I like that you didn't just ask for $1 billion. You went a couple $1 billion.
See,
yeah, already shows. Yeah, you're already going down the wrong path. Like the moment you're like, well, maybe $2 billion. That way, if I spend $1, I'm still a billionaire. It's very important to me.
Exactly. Otherwise, at that point, I'm like, well, if I have $1 billion and I spend $2, I'm no longer a billionaire, and that thus negates the entire experiment. We need to have solid numbers to attribute this test to.
Yeah, the Star Sapphire gets to laugh at you from the rafters. No longer a billionaire.
Loser.
Go ahead, life. Let's test this out.
I don't think life's gonna take up the challenge.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
You know what you should do, Ken, is you should go try and get adopted by a billionaire. Have you considered learning to do scissor kicks?
I have considered it. I have much more of a podcasting body.
I feel like Bill Gates is out there looking for a scissor kick kid.
Well, we probably don't want to touch on that right now. That seems that's a real loaded comment that he has enough money to sue anybody.
And do you have to sign the prenup before this? Because I mean,
not according to him.
I mean,
you gotta be really good at scissor kicks.
You're definitely going to have to sign an NDA, though.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
I can keep quiet for a certain amount of money. I'll say that.
Could you though?
Yeah, for a certain amount of money.
And this is the guy who says he's not going to go evil as a billionaire.
Hey, I'm just saying, like, I can be bought. Just you have to hit that number.
Which is, I'm assuming, significantly less than $1 billion.
It depends on what you're asking me to stay quiet about. If you're asking me not to tell Bruce about that time in Vegas, okay, it's $10. If you're asking me not to tell Bill Gates, my future partner in life partner, then that's a different thing. It's many subtle levels.
So, Mr. I'm going to be great with $1 billion is already talking about extortion.
Extortion. It's your choice. You don't have to do it. I'm just saying.
You fit right in.
I can be bought.
That's literally extortion. What you're describing. Textbook definition.
Tomato.
Exactly.
I don't think we can end on a better note than tomato.
Yeah, I think that was perfect.